Now, when I was consulting, I would have a popular client. He would say something like this: I have a cheap piece of land that I would like to glamp on. We would analyze the property together and eventually conclude that the land was not worth investing in. It was sort of a downer of a consultation because I would take his money, but then disappoint him in his dreams. Now, the happier consultations were from clients who had a piece of property or found a piece of property that was developed in some form or fashion with the list that I'm about to give you. They have features of the perfect property, but of course I put perfect in quotations because there really is no perfect property. It doesn't exist, but you will have this list of perfections that will help you in determining your first or your next piece of property to purchase. I also call these kind of hidden costs that eventually you're going to want to add these amenities or features or infrastructure items to make your property better for your operation. So if you can find the property that has these already, kudos to you. It's a one up. This list is exhaustive. In fact, I call it the 10 features of the perfect property. They break down from this list of 10. Number 1, infrastructure costs. Consider road access. Building or improving roads is sometimes something the county requires. Utilities, extending water, electricity, or sewage lines. I've done sewage lines and they're very costly. Internet lines and phone lines. Not so much phone lines, but internet is very crucial to a glamping operation nowadays. Gas lines, if you have gas. Drainage systems is something you must consider, especially in the spring when the floods come or the rains come. Well and water source. How are you going to get your water? Is it filtered? Drilling a well is very expensive. It's something you want to avoid. You want a piece of property that already has a well system on it, as well as a septic tank system or a municipal sewage system. 2, site preparation. Clearing and grading, removing trees, rocks, and debris, and leveling the land must be considered. Excavation, preparing the site for building structures, roads, and utilities. And soil testing. This is something I didn't know about until I had to put a septic tank in. That assessing soil quality and composition for construction and landscaping purposes is very important. Number 3, permitting and regulatory costs. We've already covered this in other videos, but you have to consider the zoning permits. Look them up first before you go ahead and purchase a piece of property. Building permits, obtaining permits in construction facilities and infrastructures. What jurisdiction do you come under? Environmental assessments, conducting studies to comply with environmental regulations, and health and safety inspections. There is a health department in your area, most likely. You have to meet the requirements for accommodation and amenities for them. Number 4, there's 2 kinds of insurance: what liability and property. Liability is protecting for accidents. If someone falls and kills themselves, you have to have liability insurance for that. And then property insurance too, insuring structures, equipment, and amenities against damage or loss. They typically merge into one when you deal with an insurance agent. Then there's legal fees, hiring attorneys for contract review, negotiations, and property transfer. Those are things you need to consider too. Number 5, maintenance and operational costs. Grounds maintenance, building maintenance, waste management, pest control, security. All of this regular upkeep and maintenance is important. Once you get your glamping operation running, someone needs to run it. And that probably will be you as an owner-operator, but there's some things you may just not be able to do. Or there might not be services that will come out to you, like waste management. You have to be on the dump truck route, and if you're not, you're going to have to consider some other way to manage your waste. Number 6, amenities and facilities. Consider accommodations, building or purchasing glamping tents, cabins, or other lodging options. Again, we covered this earlier in the class. But also recreational facilities, providing amenities such as swimming pools, hot tubs, or sports courts of some sort, like a mini golf course or something like that. Those seem to be amenities you can add later, but if they already have it on the property, more power to you. But also consider dining and kitchen facilities. Establishing areas for food preparation and dining is very, very important. Also, entertainment options, offering activities like hiking trails, fishing ponds, or event spaces. A communal fire pit is something that I'm considering on one of my properties. It helps build a safe environment for a fire pit, but also it's just nice to have for people who are getting together with friends and groups. Number 7, staffing and management, hiring staff for guest service and maintenance and management, but also consider the training and development of this staff. Investing in training programs for your employees is very important. And administration, which most likely you will be, but overhead costs for managing reservations, marketing, and finances. Those are things that are on my mind as I'm preparing for the next season. Number 8, accessibility and transportation. Are you so out in the boonies that Uber won't take your guests there? That can be a problem. Or taking your guests to area accommodations and tourist activities. Also consider accessibility features like ensuring compliance with ADA regulations for guests with disabilities. That is important. In fact, we're developing a bigger site right now of 24 units, and we will have to have an ADA compliant glamping site for people with disabilities. Or else we potentially could be sued by individuals for not complying with ADA compatibility laws. And of course, parking facilities, building or designing parking areas for guests and staff. You can have walk-in sites, but I have found that glamping guests do want to drive their car right to their shelter. And that's how we've developed our glamping operations, and that's something you can consider too. Number 9, marketing and promotion. Now, of course, Airbnb and HipCamp and Vrbo, they make it very easy for us to do this. But advertising, promoting the glamping site through various channels like websites, social media, and travel agencies are very helpful in getting those occupancies filled. Think also of branding and signage, developing a recognizable brand identity and signage for the property. I have signs for Monument Glamping, and they do matter. They do help when you are connecting with your neighborhood businesses and getting your name out there into the community. Marketing and promotion is something that just goes hand in glove with your operation. And finally, something you might not consider as very important is a contingency fund, setting aside funds for unexpected expenses, emergencies, and fluctuations in revenue. I mean, the people in the hospitality world, nobody saw COVID coming in 2020. Now, for us, glampers, it became a boon. We were very fortunate to receive their business when people wanted to still get outdoors, and they can only get outdoors when everyone was scared of being inside. But you never know what will come up. You want to have more money in the bank than not. You do not want to be living paycheck to paycheck as a glamping operator. So you might not have a contingency fund when you get started, but you want to get there. You want to move the needle forward and have that contingency fund for those emergencies. So keep these things in mind as you are out looking for a piece of property. Might be your first, might be your second or third. These are all very important features that can add to the bottom line. We all want that perfect property, of course, the one that has the bubbling crude underneath it just waiting to come up from the soil. And you might have that property. You might be living on it and you just didn't see it for what it was. I imagine Jed Clampett didn't really know that oil coming from the ground was actually going to make him wealthy. But I also don't want this list to exhaust you. A lot of these things can be built later on after you purchase your perfect property. But it's fun to develop your property with these features. It ultimately makes your guests happy and fulfilled that they're outdoors in your property enjoying themselves.